Howdy all, grab yourselves a beer, it is time for some Path of Exile, and today I'm going to be putting into practice the experimental strategy for sulphite optimized mapping that I discussed on a video yesterday. So I've just rolled up 25 shaped shore maps, and I'm just going to be blitzing them, looking to see if Niko has spawned, and then killing the boss to ensure that Niko then does actually respawn on my atlas. So quickly looking around here. Unfortunately, I'd like to be doing this on a faster build, but you need to do it on the build that you want the sulphite on. I mean, you can sort of open your map and then decide that you're going to bring another character in once you've ascertained that Niko is on the map. That's possibly a better way of doing it, but this is working fine. So I'm confident Niko's not spawned. I'm not that fussed about getting maximum value out of the map. I just want to get to the end, kill the boss, and then start all over again. So this is the boss here, Pirate's Lord's Treasure appears. And I've actually looted nothing in this map, but that's only a small loss. You know, 2.5 chaos or so. Just having a quick look to see, Niko spawned, perfect. That's only a 4% chance, but we've got him on a map that's of basically the same tier. At this point, it's on Carcass map. I'm going to roll up a Carcass if I don't already have a corrupt rare one there, so that's one that's already chiseled. Chisel it up. Alchemy Orb. 66 isn't high enough. 66 is 92 is. I can do that map. Val for the off. Yep, perfect. I could throw fragments in as well, but I'm just going to do this fast. So pop in, get the 3 Niko spawns. I was very lucky to get it on my first try. It is 1 in 25 chance that Niko will respawn on your daily like that. And if he does, it will be at a map very close in tier to the one that you were that you can kill the boss of. You'll notice that this is unidentified, but because it was created with a Val Orb, it keeps the same mods that it had. I didn't actually bother to check what the mods were. I just know that they're ones I could do. It's got temporal chains, which is a bit of a pain, but you can manage with a flask of warding. One pile of Niko poo there, that's the first one we're after. So that's 1,083, which is less than you get in a tier 16. But the reason this strategy works is that tier 12 to 14 maps are really cheap compared to 16s. You're not wasting much just blitzing them, running straight for the boss and or the Niko piles that may already be in there. Now, it's only 1 in 25 to have Niko reappear on your atlas, but it's 2 in 25 to have Niko pop into your map unannounced. So that adds up to, you know, 3 out of 25 is a pretty decent amount. It might help if I was paying more attention to the minimap there. Anyways, I'm keen to see just how much I can get in an hour. The 25 canyon map, 25 shaped shores that I bought cost me approximately 50 chaos total, and I also threw an alchemy orb on each of them, so I've invested 50 chaos plus 25 alchemy orbs, and I'm probably going to get most, but not all of that back in loot. That was a hard-hitting thing there, whatever that was. Right. I have to have a look at the replay on that. I may have not noticed that I was bleeding. Carcass is not a popular map for good reason. It's very hard to navigate. I am still killing the boss because I'm near it, even though it is a phased boss. Probably actually is the wrong decision to do this. I'm forgetting just how long these phases go. And what happens with this boss is that if you do way too much damage, he still pops in. And yeah, there he goes. You can reduce the number of phases by killing him faster. I believe it's this way. Still looking for that last Niko pile. I had the option of trying to source an Elder Carcass map at this point. I don't know if many of them exist in the league, because it's not a good choice of map to stick your Elder Orb on. You only get one. But it's entirely possible that it does exist somewhere. But I wasn't interested in spending that much extra effort for a small improvement. So that's one Niko. There's not a Niko on the map, so which I wasn't expecting there to be. I'll throw the next shore in. Because I'm not picking up much, I can mostly just come straight back here. At this point, we've been going for 5 minutes. We've had one pile of Niko poo, which was about 3,700, I believe. I'll have to check that. Elva's in this map. Elva being present means Niko is not. We also have the boss possessed by tormented spirits, and this time, unlike the last video, it actually is the boss. It's not. It's not the. There's a prophecy that I got confused, where I thought I had one prophecy that affected the boss, and I instead had a different prophecy that affected rares. Thanks to people that pointed that out. This boss is just, by virtue of being a tier 12 boss, just doesn't really do very much. I just kill the low-hanging fruit, then get out of here, and burn another map. While we're waiting here, we'll have a look and we'll see. That took well under a minute to do that second shore map. But that was quicker than usual because we very quickly ascertained that Elva was present in the map. Also should have checked if Niko had respawned. I didn't. That was a mistake. That's something that I should get better at over time. Tar is really annoying on these months. Okay, Betrayal is present. If it weren't for the fact that I had an unfinished research safe house, I would definitely target all of the Betrayal stuff. As it is, I will still quickly assess. What are you doing? You're in transportation. Can't actually. One thing I really hate is when you can't see the things. Oh, and we have a client crash happening. Don't you just love it when that happens? I haven't been getting many performance issues with the game until very recently, so I'm just reloading the game client now. But let's quickly log in and get back to where I was. That unfortunately messes up my attempts to time how long everything is taking. Because now I've just got to... I've re-logged in, but now it's a case of jumping back to the hideout, ascertaining no I didn't die, so I don't need to re-up my various auras. We are safely back into the map, and at this point I will just ascertain what the deal is with where they... So you're, are you the actual commander of that transportation? Yes, you are. Okay, I'm happy to keep you there.
Few men deserve betrayal more than Gravicius.
Oh, what's his betrayal option again?
Death holds no
he doesn't have one. Okay, so I'm going to send Varici to the Slammer because even though he's not in the best place at the moment, I recently did Katarina. I will not do that bargain. I'm just going to let him go, unfortunately. There's no better options. And here we've got Intervention popping in to say hi. And oh, we have mouses playing up. That wasn't the game client. That was my my computer mouse decided to do something there. But anyways, we got away with it. Chimera is always the one that in it's unfortunate. Coral, what do you do again? I need to get it that fled back after, so I'll put Coral in timeout, even though he's not the worst person to have around. But as I said, I did Katarina recently, and that bricks your entire syndicate when you do it. It's a reason that people don't usually run Katarina. In any case, we've ascertained that there's nothing else to do here. I have a research safe house ready to go, so I won't have a research encounter. And that means that I can just rush straight to the end. Kill the big packs on the way, but pick up maps and stuff like that. I've run past the boss, unfortunately, so let's go up here, and this is where he is. This boss seems to have pretty poor drops so far. I'm not sure if that's always the case, but it looks like it. I'm going to go and use Jun's Unveils at this point. which does slow you down a little, but they're always worth doing. I have most of them. I have most of the unveils completed, but still looking for a couple of premium ones and a couple of minor ones like that. The ones that I really care about, I've got all of them for this league. But it always helps to just get them all done. This strategy will actually also help you quickly get your June unveils done too.
Exile.
Yeah, at this point we'll just... we do need to vendor, unfortunately. Ah, I missed that one. Didn't realise that I'd missed one. I do need to vendor, which is a time waste, but that happens every time June pops into your map. You'll have to vendor. And we got nothing from that one. Could have just vendored it as it was. Anyways, we weren't to know. Now, again, we don't have any presence of Niko on the map, so let's just get straight back to it. Running another. So I think we lost about 3.5 minutes there to the combination of Jun's presence and the disconnect. Oh, that's a bonus. That pays for all the maps I've used so far and a little bit more. Divine Orbs are actually pretty damn rare to get as pure drops, so don't count on them. Oh, we've got Betrayal again. I will take them out. They're still worth doing, even though they're not what I'm targeting at the moment, but they're worth doing. Okay, so I wanted Leo. I want you to tier 3 because you have that silly. You have something silly. Intervention Scarabs. That's good, and you are offering me absolute crap and garbage because that's what you are, Hillock, isn't it? You're garbage. Chimeria's back. It the Fled is present, finally. Oh, well, that's what we wanted to see. Chimeria is getting me Sulphite Scarabs. That's exactly what I want. It that Fled is in the wrong spot. He's currently in fortification. I'm going to put him in prison so that he goes away. I actually already had It that Fled, I just didn't realise it. And you are useless, so you can just sit in prison. Alright, well, we know that this is a betrayal map, so let's just rush to the end, because we don't have anything else to get in this map. I'm glad to have It that Fled on my board and to actually ascertain that I already did have him. I just didn't realise that he was the one person that I hadn't unveiled the identity of yet. That's the wrong... Unfortunately, that is the wrong simple robe. Alright, so that's the end of that map, and at this point we can just jump back and see... We're going to need to vendor again because we had Jun, which is always a nuisance, but once more, it's worthwhile. You notice that most of these are tier 3, that's because I'm running a high tier map. So here I've got this one's tier 3, that'll give me 6 times the unveil XP that the other two would. At least I believe it's 6 times, maybe a little bit off on that. It is definitely the case that if you want to get your crafts unlocked, that you want to be running Jun on higher tier maps where possible. It just seems that you get quite a strong bias towards her better crafts that way. Alright, so at this point we'll just quickly vendor everything that was garbage and ascertain this jewel is criminal. Yeah, that's garbage. That's 2 synergistic mods. 2 isn't enough at this point of the league. It needs to have 3. And just before we hit go on that, making sure that we don't currently have Niko present. We don't, so let's set this one off. Okay, we've got another betrayal. This will sometimes happen actually. On one occasion I had 3 Nikos in a row like this, which was quite impressive. I'd like that to happen again. It probably won't.
The syndicate is not just a...
Yep, you can just stab your friend in the back. And here we've got the Get Chimeria up to... oh no, we don't have the ability to rank him up. We're not moving you, you're just getting released. Chimeria gives the Sulphite Scarabs, so he's very important to have in intervention. And you want him to be tier 3, but it's not critical. Most of the value of a Sulphite Scarab is actually in the forcing Niko on the map, not the additional Sulphite that the Scarab gives you over and above the normal Niko Scarab. That's why the tier 1 Niko Scarabs hold 3/4 the value of the tier 3 ones, which is very much not true for the others. So for Divination Scarabs, the tier 1 Scarabs are just not worth very much at all compared to the tier 3s. And it's as simple as that. That's another one down. We'll quickly unveil again and have a look, see at what we've got next. Everything is garbage. Vendor, because I've picked up so much stuff. And I just went back into the same map again because I misclicked like an idiot. Okay, so that's 5 down. We've had 1 spawn of Niko so far. It's taken 16 minutes, of which 3.5 was wasted. So we're looking 2.6 minutes per map at the moment, and that's with me doing some side content unnecessarily. You'll notice I'm just not really respecting those bearers. Probably not enough, actually. At least should have had some respect for them because they were hurting me a bit. Niko is not going to be present in this because we have Einhar, and there is a 1 master maximum. However, I will do the Red Beast. Red Beasts have a chance of being very, very valuable, and I'm not actually sure if this is one of the valuable ones or not, but I'll do my research into it later. I can't remember what the valuable ones are. I believe there's usually only 1, especially when there's only 4 beasts on the map. Now, I will mention from a map rolling perspective, I elked everything, then checked to ascertain that they were not elemental reflect. That's the only mod that I fear. I can do it, but I hate running it. And this map is finished, so let's just low-hanging fruit out. And back in, we're up to another Shapeshore. While we're doing that, do we have presence of Niko? We do not. So we've had Niko's daily spawn once, and we have not yet had Niko show up to say hello. Variance will be pretty significant on this strategy, but on average, you should expect every 25 maps to get Niko 3 times. And given that you can get, you can get a lot of these tier 12 maps very cheaply, and the loot you're getting pays for the maps anyway. Once I've done these 10, I'm now reasonably confident Niko's not present. I'm just going to run a little bit further and check. Once I've done a bunch of tier 12s to check, I'm also going to do the same thing with 14s. I picked up a whole bunch of shaped canyon maps from other players. These are both maps I have shaped on my atlas as well, but I don't have a strategy that's focused on making that the only thing that can drop, so I don't have very many of them. Here's our twinned bosses. And Occultist is tanky enough to just stand on the crap that's left behind when things die there. Lots of other builds can't get away with that. Again, I'm leaving lots of monsters alive behind me, lots of XP and loot on the table. I'm still getting a good 1% of an experience level each zone that I'm doing, roughly. Maybe not quite 1%, but not much less. And I'm doing this with basically... like, these maps are so easy that I have almost no chance of dying in them. The only things that will be dangerous will be things like a if I don't pay attention and accidentally rolled a reflect map, I'd probably die the first pack because I didn't realise it. Additionally, I could die on a intervention encounter if I underestimated them. A couple of things like that. Rogue Exile that casts a curse can be quite nasty too, if you're just not expecting it. Pretty confident that there's no Niko present here, so let's just keep moving. I should be running a second Quicksilver in this. I certainly don't need more Witchfire Brew for extra damage. So even though I am being wasteful with maps, so many maps drop in the game now that I'm still pretty much over-sustaining. This, I should have Remnant of Corrupted that, I just didn't have one. I knew I'd run out of them, so I'm not going to pass up on it. Still worth taking as is. Okay, now another quick look. There's no Niko present, so let's just throw another map in. At this point, while that raises up, I'm going to sell off this 6 socket. You can do this a lot faster if you have a build that is really optimized for move speed. Queen of the Forest builds in particular are incredible for move speed, but you don't even need to use that unique. You can just have more of an emphasis on it than I do. Necropolis map, that's a fifth of a mirror according to some Reddit memes. If you're not familiar with the origins of that, it's mocking a person who was early in the game's history was regarded to give very, very bad very bad advice to try and in trade to try and rip off people. I don't know. I won't name them because I don't know the veracity of the story. Heralds of the Obelisk. I don't usually respect that, but I will just jump out of the way of it when it's that big a pack. Now, let's go for one more, and what are we looking at? 22 minutes so far. We're about to run our 10th Shaped Shore. Just before we do, to be sure that we don't have another Niko. Now, in this period, the statistical average number of Niko missions. We've actually done 10 maps already because we did that carcass as well. So this is my 11th map. Assuming that I finished this in about the same time as the others, I'm taking about 2 minutes per map because I had that time that was lost to the disconnect earlier. Based on all of that, I believe I could probably get 28 to 30 maps an hour without optimizing further. 30 maps an hour doing this would be 3.6 Niko piles. That's about 15,000 Sulphite an hour on average. There's a high level of variance with that, but that's, average is what matters in the long term. I think that should be a pretty... given that I'm not hemorrhaging currency doing this or anything close to it. You could also try this with higher tier maps again. I was brainstorming the idea of doing it with tier 15s, but I felt that I'd probably actually hemorrhage currency doing that. Just because, you're running a tier 15 and you're only doing Elk and Go and you're not really... oh! Nice! I've actually been very lucky with the raw currency drops. Something that happens when you go fast, you do get more big drops, but getting a Divine and an Annul in this number of maps is unusually lucky. But I'll certainly take that. Now let's have a quick look. See, again, we have no Niko, so this time let's hit the canyons instead. Let's throw all of the all the loot away. After 10 maps. This is all I've got after 10 maps. As you can see, it's not a huge amount of items, but it's been very low investment mapping. In terms of outright map returns, we have the following. We've got 13, 11, 14, 14. So that's we've lost on maps, but we haven't been absolutely smashed on them. Now I've got a whole bunch of canyons here, so let's do a quick rolling session. This one was sold to me already rolled. Okay, I didn't realize that. And we've got 10 of them here. It's just a case of elk and go. Where are my alchemy orbs? There they are. In the same place that they always are. Now, if you want to quickly check if these have got reflect, what you do is you just go to the tab that you want to put them in, and just looking to see where they've all gone. So it's reflect. Nothing has reflect of any type. So now let's just go canyon again and pull out the ones that we had rolled up. That was the first one, wasn't it? You can do that faster if you're doing it, if you're not doing it in a quad tab. Alright, now Canyon should be an even easier layout. Canyon is one of the cruisiest layouts in the game, and it's really good for spotting Niko because you don't need to explore the map very much. You can just basically run down the center. If Niko's present, you'll see him. You've just got to work out which way the map is oriented to start with. The difference is that being a tier 14, the mobs do have a few more hit points, and the boss of this is somewhat more dangerous than the boss of Shore. In fact, a lot more dangerous. It's one of the most dangerous shaped map bosses, actually, Canyon. Tier 3. It's not really worth picking up, but anyways. I do want to have them in stock. I've left that Rogue Exile behind, not out of any concern that it's dangerous to fight, just out of a desire to go faster, faster, faster. And that's the reason. People ask why I use Vile Fireball. Things like that are the reason why. It's just very good when you're surrounded by a lot of weak trash mobs. It's not necessarily an optimal choice that you need to use, just one that does definitely get the job done. Now here's our bosses. One of them has a mongrel of a rain of arrows. Oh, I did not even realise that was twinned. It's one of the advantages to more than slightly outgearing content. You can just ignore map mods. Nothing's come up in terms of what we're looking for. So let's just throw another one in the map device. 28 minutes in, minus 3.5 for the crash is 25. We're on our 12th map at this point. So that's a rate of 29 an hour. Hey, that's always nice. That's been getting run a lot more this league because of the hideout that was added to it. Ah, Niko, that's what we wanted to see. Now, because Niko wasn't planned here, I didn't chisel the map. And that, I don't think there is value in chiseling these maps. There might be, but I don't have enough chisels without doing extensive trading to do so, so I'm settling for not doing so. And again, that's part of the reason I'm running tier 14s and not 15 or 16. So we're now at 7200 Sulphite with one more to go in this map, and I believe there were that I had 650 at the start of the video, so that's let's call that 6500 so far. Oh! Don't expect to be as lucky as I've been in these runs. I'm not even using IIRC gear either. That's just been one of those days where things go right in terms of luck. What you can expect, though, is to have comparable luck to what I've had with Niko spawning. Just maybe not getting the exalts and annuls. They actually had very bad luck on exalt pulls this league. Direct exalt drops. I've had plenty of good drops, just not raw exalted orbs. Alright, so let's have a quick look. Even when Niko spawns in the map, it is possible for Niko to reappear on your atlas straight afterwards. This map I noticed had vulnerability. I didn't read all the mods on it. Vulnerability is terrifying for the bosses at the end of this. You really want to have a warding flask when you've got the vulnerability curse on you in here. It's the good thing about vulnerability as a map mod is that it's immediately visible because it shows up above your character's head. So you'll see there, as soon as my warding flask runs out, there's a big warning over my head saying, "Hey, you've got vulnerability at the moment. You should probably not engage bosses that are known to have very high physical damage attacks." That's too gutsy. There's a fine line between being gutsy and stupid. Jumping into the middle of that would have been on the wrong side of that line. That's actually a very useful when you're moving fast and you've got the boss at the end of this map. It's a very, very useful shrine to have, because I will have it for the boss. The only reason I'm hitting those strong boxes there is because they're a compact source of extra monsters. Abyss in any normal gameplay I would do, but for these purposes I'm going to skip them. I will do breaches if they spawn randomly. That's one boss down, that's two bosses down, and low-hanging fruit can go away. So again, no Niko respawns. You won't get them very often, but you will get them often enough to matter. I could kill less than I'm killing at the moment. That's one strategy that I've considered doing, is basically killing only the barest minimum necessary to keep Quicksilver of Adrenaline going. I'm interested on people's thoughts on that. I mean, obviously I've had very good luck with monster drops in these runs. I've had actually extraordinary luck, but I still think that there is a case to be made for doing it the super fast way. That would be something I'd be more tempted to do if I had a faster move speed than I do. I'm using 35% move speed boots. I'm also using armor that is -8%, oh sorry, -3%, and a shield that is -3%. I'm not sure what those mitts are. I think they're a dumpster unique, but so, and I have a 5% move speed on the passive tree. So all told, I have a move speed of positive 34% without flasks, and then with flasks I obviously have a lot more. Now that's one of the two bosses down, that's both of them. And didn't actually get to see that. Alright, one thing you'll notice is I'm getting Shaper Strongholds respawning. That is kind of useful as well. There is a challenge to complete a total of 20 of them, I believe, and whilst I've got far more than 20 done in this league, you can often sell completions of those to other players who are chasing 24 challenges. It is one of the challenges that you will probably need to do if your goal is in the league is 24, but it's also probably going to be one of the hardest ones to do if that's your amount of play. That 24 is your goal. So you might want to consider that with discussing that with other players in places that services are traded. Now this is Zana actually providing a mission. Again, I'm just not bothering with it. I'll have a look though. I'll just have a look and see if she's offering anything extraordinary. I mean, there is a tropical island there where I could do the same strategy. Shaped Tropical Island was one of the maps I considered, but I decided to go for Canyon over it. By all means, if you can't find canyons in trade, at least in bulk trade, then buy Tropical Islands instead, because they're fine. They just have a bit more running than this does, and they've got 2 more load screens inside them as well. I'm killing essence packs. Essences have gone up a lot in price because of the mechanics of the Synthesis League. While these ones weren't particularly valuable, some of the others are. Essences that Spite. I have to check what Spite is. If it's one of the ones that the tier 3 one gives plus 58 to a stat, those are worth quite a bit. Did not want to get that that Tormented Spirit in there. I've got 2 6 sockets at this point. I'm going to vendor. I'm going to check what these Carnal are. They're the Obama. I have heaps of them. They're not selling, so they can get vended. Maybe worth a little bit more than vendor price, but I'm not going to. I don't generally bother selling for less than 10 chaos at this point of a league. Alrighty, so we're opening our 16th shaped map and 17th map total. We're still running on track for 30 maps per hour. And as always, I always find the start of this map hard to navigate. Only a Jeweler's Strongbox. I thought for a second it was a Diviner's. That's those are on the loot filter because of the prospect of having a Headhunter drop as a result of either unusual circumstances, like a Shaper Stronghold, or from various, or from maps if I was just to elect to run the Nemesis mod, which I sometimes do just out of boredom. It's like, oh yeah, let's do something a bit different. So the loot filter can't tell a difference from between one unidentified leather belt unique and another. So it has to be either always excited about a leather belt, or always just give you a, oh yeah, you got another unique. It's almost never Headhunter, even in the zones that Headhunter can drop. But if you want to really give someone a heart attack, play with your friends, go and run a map with the Zana Nemesis mod. Take in a leather belt with you that's unique, like that one, Worm's Molt, or whatever the other ones are. Immortal Flesh. I think there's 2 or 3 more. Take one of them in that's unidentified and drop it on the ground, and watch your friend. Well, firstly, freak out, then not be a friend anymore. There's some low-hanging fruit, and get out of that bearer. I think I can tank bearers at this point, but there's no need to do so. Okay. So let's do let's do canyon number 7, shaped canyon number 7. I do find there's bestiary on this one. Stupid porcupines. These can be really scary. I'm reasonably well protected against them between having the endurance charges and having the granite flask, and actually they are the sole reason that I maintain a granite flask on this character. Granite flasks don't particularly do much against big hits in melee from enemies that specialize in melee attacks like Izaro, at least not on characters that aren't built around armor. Lightning Mirage. I'm gonna just run away from that. They take a while to fight and they're annoying. I'm here for the low-hanging fruit. I'm not here for the whole map. However, this that exile is too dangerous to let live behind you. Alright, let's set off this breach while the boss is up. I have Ulnatol, I believe, in person. Did I see him? No, why did I think I saw Ulnatol in there? It's not even one of his breaches. Any case, I think that breaches are worth doing on this strategy just because there's so many monsters in one place. They would be better on Shape Shore because I believe it has a good new divination card. I need to confirm this personally, but I believe it has the divination card for the Harbinger map. What's it called again? Beachhead. I believe it has the Beachhead divination card on it. And some people have reported getting one card every 20 maps. I don't know if that's correct or not. Alright, we're not getting any more Niko respawns. And, you know, some people will think I've already had my one for 25 maps. But this game doesn't have karma on, doesn't have any sort of karma on luck. So basically, your odds are 1 in 25, whether you've just had it happen or not. So every map has a chance of getting it. Those odds as well, people have asked where that 1 in 25 information comes from. It came from developer confirmation during the launch of Synthesis. I can't remember the exact context, and I don't have the quote saved, but at least I am confident it's right. You know, it's not something that I've made up or that I've ascertained empirically to be about the right amount. It's actually come from a word of God developer. Don't face tank those unless you ridiculously outgear the zone. Those essence monsters with all those extra damage sources, they can really hurt you. Alrighty, so definitely no Niko on this map. Let's just keep running to the end here. When we find the boss, because the Valve Fireball has chain on it. No, I thought I'd find the boss earlier than I did. Okay, this boss needs to be kept chilled and away from me because he hits like a freight train when he's enraged. I didn't realise that I'd killed the first boss. Alright, I'm running out of space in inventory, so I'm going to vendor at this point. Freeze Baptism, Ash Caller, Bloodplay, all dumpster tier uniques. So they can all go away. And just before I run that one, Niko check. Negative. So at this point we've been going for 43.5 minutes, so 40 minutes of 40 minutes when you take out the time that was lost to the client crash, and we're basically looking still on track for maybe 29 maps at this point per hour. We would have spent, if we hadn't had the very lucky drops, you could count on actually getting one of those three. I had the exalt, I had the annul, and I had the divine drop. The amount that exalts drop is about 1 per 140 maps. According to Slippery Jim's testing. So you could count on getting, from top-end currencies, you could count on getting about 20 to 25 chaos worth of drops from this number of maps. So let's just pretend that I'd only had the divine orb drop instead of the divine, the annul, and the exalt. On that basis, I'd still be looking at slightly more than breaking even. And of course there's always the possibility of getting other League content as well. Like I've made progress towards Betrayal, for instance, which is hard to put an actual value on, but it definitely has one. And that's not. I always get excited when I see a unique jewel drop and then I'm disappointed when I mouse over what it is. What is this? Pitch darkness. And it's as far from perfectly divined as you can get. Now, again, no Niko present, and I think we've seen Zana move around a couple of times. We've got those two things to run. But this is our last map. This is the 20th shaped map, and 21 total maps that we've run. We've seen Niko twice, but statistically we should have expected to see him 2.4 times, and 2.52 after this map. I spent 3 chaos on each of these shaped canyons. I don't think they're going to be available at 3 chaos for all that long. I think they're normally 4. I just had someone that was selling them in bulk, and in big bulk actually. I think I bought 25 off them. They were selling them for 3 chaos each. A lot of people at this point are just looking to dump maps because there may be people who are interested in Standard League, so they care about currency, but they don't want to have a whole bunch of Synthesis's Atlas maps in Standard, where they've then got to convert them, which hopefully will be an option by the time that the next league comes around. But even if it is, it's still a big hassle. Alright, now I killed one of the bosses, but did I get both? I did. Okay, and that's the end of that. We just saw Jun move at that point. Jun got moved from whatever Shaper Guardian she was on previously to Colosseum. Let's draw a bit of a balance sheet here as we turn in loot. So, maps. 12 of 14, 17 of 10. We're definitely under-sustaining. There's a 15, there's a 14. We're definitely under-sustaining by quite a lot, and that's because I'm being wasteful. I can only get away with being so wasteful because the map drops in this league are just so high now that you know, that you can just buy them cheaply off other players, then go and waste them like I've been doing. But there's certainly been quite reasonable net returns. I'm not hemorrhaging currency to do this, and I picked up a total of 7,500 Sulphite during this period. So 7,500 Sulphite in the 44 minutes that I was playing, while still running a lot of content, getting a lot of XP. I had 15% of a level in that period. So if I was to make a serious push for level 95, which I probably will do, then this would be a good way of doing so. Anyways, if you've got any questions, fire them into the comments below. Otherwise, let me know how this strategy works for you if you do give it a go. And have a good one.